Okay, here's the latest piece to my airplane building saga. Built a fan for a paint booth. I've got a friend of mine who's building the same type aircraft as I am, and he's a lot further along than I am. And this next summer, he's going to be painting his aircraft. Well, he was looking for a fan for a portable paint booth, or I guess a temporary paint booth he wants to set up. And he said, I need an explosion-proof fan. Well, if you've ever priced one, they're way out there. I mean, they're close to $1,000, and then plus shipping to Alaska, it's pretty much out of the question to have one bought and shipped up here. Even used, it'd be a lot of money. And the other part is trying to find one used in Alaska is just, they're about non-existent. You can't find one. So anyway, the only option is to build one. So what I did was I took a look at all the designs of manufactured fans, and I came up with this. This is basically an explosion-proof fan, or at least my version of it. There's two versions that I've seen that are available. One is that the motor is actually a direct drive on the fan, and it's actually explosion-proof enclosure motor. It can operate in hazardous conditions. And then you have this type, which I made, which is a little bit simpler, is that you have the fan itself driven by a belt, and then the motor is outside of the stream, outside of the combustible air, I guess, or combustible air mixture. Now, I know people paint with box fans and things like that, but it seems like it would be a good idea to go ahead and make a fan that's proper for the job. So anyway, what it started out with was just my regular 1-inch tubing. All this stuff is scrap. I probably have, I don't know, just under $200 into this thing, the way it sits. And most of that was just for bearings in the fan. The engine, it's a 1/2 horsepower engine. It's a blower duty motor that I got at a garage sale for $1. The guy tried to rewire it and had no idea. The wires were just poking out everywhere. He couldn't figure out how to make it run, so he sold it to me basically for scrap price. And so I got it going, and it works fine. And the shivs that I got, they're both 3-inch top and bottom. I already had those also just lying around. And also I have the flange bearings. The flange bearings were about $15 a piece. The main cost of this whole thing was the fan. The fan is actually an explosion-proof, or I should say a paint booth fan blade that I got on eBay, $60, and it cost $40, if you can believe it, to mail that thing up here. And the reason why it's a specialty fan is that it's made out of aluminum, and you don't want anything to spark inside the environment where the combustible air is going to be. So that's why the fan blade is made out of aluminum, and the tunnel itself is made out of galvanized steel, as you can see. I went to a local machine shop, or I should say a local sheet metal shop, and have them made me a circle, which is 21 inches in diameter, and I had them make it 18 inches deep. And that forms the tunnel. So I built a cage around it, 1 inch square tubing. Nothing fancy there. I know these little stripes and everything. I just got some tape that I had left over from a job for marking areas on a floor. So I just dressed it up with the tape. There's no other reason for that other than trying to make it look cool, because otherwise it's kind of boring. And then I've got the 2x4-inch rectangular steel tubing here, which will drive which the belt drive goes through. The flange bearings go on either side. You can see it, just a 1/2-inch shaft right here. And then you can't see it, I've got a little cover plate on the bottom here, but there's the shiv is identical to this one up here, down here. And this is all encased, and if you notice, you'd think, well, shoot, if you ever have to change a belt, you gotta take all that nonsense apart to get to the shiv and to pull everything apart, all the shafting. But what I did was I got one of those Fenner drive belts instead, and it's a segmented belt, and you can take it apart anywhere, so you can thread it through that type of an area and have it still work just peachy. And let's see, I've got the motor hooked up with a plug, so that can be disconnected and removed if I need to. Switch, a little fancy little guard I made on here because these little toggle switches are really easy to break. And then I used wood for the facing on each side. And I did that for two reasons. One is that it was the best thing I could do, or best thing I could figure out, to make a circle to encase this piece of sheet metal I got here, and was able to draw a nice circle. And the second was a happy coincidence, is when you put this on a paint booth, you can staple whatever visqueen we can have to the surface and kind of form a seal on it. So that's two really good reasons for having the wood front and back. It's easy to do, and also you can staple plastic to it, especially on the back where the ducting goes. Now you're looking at it saying, well, shoot, you got these whirling blades of death there. Why don't you have anything in front or in back, any type of screen? And actually I do. If you look at it, I've got some expanded steel mesh that does go on the front of this. So it's not that it's unprotected, but I just wanted to leave the mesh off for now, just so you can see what it looks like without the mesh on it, and see the structure of the little thing poking down in here. So now what we're going to do, we're going to turn it on and demonstrate that this thing actually does work, and it works pretty well. See, the thing blows. Thing puts out quite a stream of air. I'm telling you, that thing really does do the job. And it runs pretty quiet, relatively quiet. So I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. Got a paint booth fan or explosion proof fan for under 200 bucks. It's brand new, and to be honest with you, it looks a lot better than a lot of things I've seen on the internet that people have for sale for $700-800 bucks brand new. So if you ever wanted to build one, it's easy to do, just got to get to it.